We're here at Schwab Impact 2018, one of the largest advisor conferences in the country. All RIAs that utilize Schwab as a custodian are here, over 5,000 of them, learning about technology, where the markets are going, where the industry is going, and we're lucky enough today to have Kelly Hoover from Hoover Financial Advisors with us to talk about the innovation from an advisor perspective and what's going on with their firm, a near $1 billion assets under management firm. Kelly, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
Well, you having fun at the conference so far?
Yeah, Schwab always puts on a really good show. They have a lot of good vendors, a lot of good people, a lot of good education going around here, so we're always happy to be involved.
Well, tell everybody a little bit about Hoover and what makes you all special, and how you've been able to grow to where you are today and where you plan to go in the future.
So I think that what we value most is our team approach. So we're in Malvern, Pennsylvania. We've been around since 2005. We're a little under $1 billion, right around the $900 million mark. We have 23 employees, full service, comprehensive investment management and financial planning. And what we value the most is our team approach and our ability to work together and bring lots of different specializations has really been a valuable addition and has allowed us to grow. Our owner has invested in people and has really been able to bring a good group of people together that are all passionate about our mission to help clients.
Mm-hmm. And so we have some things in common. It's family business, right? And
Correct. So
talk about some of the challenges from your perspective, the challenges and the benefits of a family business. I know that we could probably spend all day talking about that, but from your point of view, what are some of the challenges and what are some of the really advantages of a family-run business?
So it's a good question. It honestly has been the best thing in the world for me. The relationship that I have with my father, who is the owner of our firm, has grown leaps and bounds since we've been working together. Family businesses don't always work out, you know. There can be lots of challenges, but the relationship that my father and I have has been a blessing, and I feel like it's allowed us, because we're so similar, we work very well together. And we bounce ideas off each other. The one thing about a family business is that, you know, it's never a 9-to-5 job. You know, I'm on vacations and I'm still talking about the business, as a lot of people do. But, you know, I'm always on and always working, and so that part of it is sometimes interesting and challenging, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I think that the dynamic that we have and the ability of having that family relationship within our office sets a really good culture and tone for our employees. And I think they look to that and appreciate that, and it's allowed us to really embrace the family business within our firm.
Yeah. And all the other family members get tired of y'all talking about business all the time.
All the time,
yeah.
Yes, all the time.
Yeah, we have that same thing go on. Now we have 3, so it makes it
Yes.
a little bit more difficult. But let's get into the industry. I want to talk about headlines or things that are going around in our industry right now that both worry you and excite you. So if we want to start, let's start on the worry side, right? What are some of the things, 1 or 2 headlines or overarching topics that are in the industry that worry you? And then we can flip it and say, what are 1 or 2 things that really excite you about the future of our industry?
So I guess the typical stereotypical thing that worries advisors right now is around the robo world. You know, I think we went through this stage where people were concerned that robo may eventually kind of take the place of our industry, and maybe we were trending towards you know, having an industry that embraced the robo platform and maybe would eventually push out the need for the personalized service. But I think anymore in the last couple of years, the need and the desire for the personal service has kind of just reassured that probably is not going to happen. And one of the things they talked about yesterday or 2 days ago, I guess, in one of the keynote sessions was kind of this merge of the digitization with the personalization. And I think that that's really the key to kind of the future. So I think when the robo did at one point kind of seem like it was a threat to our culture, now it almost seems like it's being embraced and kind of complementing the personalization. You know, our industry is always going to be a personal service industry. And I think that we don't want that to ever go away. So I think that while that was something that may have been an issue in the past, now it's almost a good thing, I guess.
And I think that, we talked about it at a roundtable last night. It's about augmented intelligence as opposed to artificial intelligence. How can we augment the human intelligence to be able to be more efficient and deliver more value? And the CFA Institute coined a term called the collective intelligence, which is bringing technology in as a partner as opposed to a foe from that standpoint, or as someone that could displace us.
Yeah, well, technology is certainly driving the industry. If we can't keep up with the technology, obviously that is going to deter, be an issue, I think, for firms. But embracing that technology just allows us to do more for the client. The ability to scale and have efficiencies will continue to allow, I think, us to have to justify the cost that we're charging clients, because we need to just continue to do more. And I think that's what a lot of firms are doing, is just to make sure that we're continuing to add values in different ways to the client experience.
And let's talk real quick about Hoover in terms of efficiencies. Technology helps to deliver efficiencies, but when you look at the firm from an operations standpoint, of a running the business standpoint all the time, where do you look and say that is where we are most efficient? We are an efficient, well-oiled machine in that area. Where would you say that would be within your firm?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably within our workflows, around just process management, so task management. We utilize Juncture as our CRM, and we have all of our advisors that dictate their notes and kind of have those flow into a system, whether it's DragonSpeak or some other type of program. And, everything goes into Juncture, assigns out tasks, and all of our teams work in queues, to be able to manage workflow amongst themselves. So I'd say our workflows around a task management is really where we see most of our efficiencies. I'd say that, coupled with the rebalancer technology in Tamarack, allowing us to scale, portfolio, like trading and such, across multiple, across like our whole book of business if needed. Those two kind of things, I'd say, are where we see our most efficiencies and allow us to be the most scalable, I guess.
And when you, to go off topic a little bit for a second, is that when you talk about workflows, a lot of people out there, they don't have workflows built in, whether it's CRM with Salesforce or Juncture or Redtail or Orion or whoever it is, right? Can you walk us through the process of how you all laid out the process of starting to get those workflows together? What did that look like? What is some of that advice you can give someone that's starting at a blank slate that says, I need them, but I don't know where to start to understand what the workflows are?
I guess I would probably say that work closely with the CRM or the technology provider. Juncture can provide, or Salesforce, whoever it may be, can provide a lot of templates and kind of recommendations on good places to start, and then I think really it would just be customizing it to your specific needs thereafter. So I think that that's kind of, a lot of times when we have a new idea that may be like, hey, how can we figure out a way to put RMDs, the whole process of taking RMDs into Juncture and make that more systematized. We would reach out to Juncture and say, like, do you have kind of an idea of how other people have done this, that maybe you've built templates around this that we could utilize? And, so I think that's the place where you start, and then you kind of bring that back and customize it to your business a little bit.
So leveraging your technology partners to help them, or have them help you, because they have the knowledge
obviously
base.
They're seeing it across multiple firms. They're talking with firms all the time. This year we engaged Juncture for a whole year to help us with training. So we had a training session each quarter with them around a different specific topic, and kind of they also help to drive what those topics are. Hear what other advisors are really focused on right now. So I think that was helpful, because we really have put a lot of emphasis in Juncture this year to make sure that we're continuing to evolve with it.
Yeah.
Because it really is such an efficient way to make us scalable.
If you use it the right way, and that's the challenge.
Yeah, if you use it the right way, definitely. And we are hard on our advisors around when they do things right and when they do things wrong, and we try to make them very consistent, because we have 6 advisors, I guess, and they want to kind of do things differently sometimes.
Yeah.
But making sure that they're consistent is really one of the most important things that we continue to drive home with them, because the way that our admin team and our investment team and our planning teams all receive information needs to be consistent across the board. So that's where Juncture can provide a lot of value.
Great. Well, I want to let you get back to the conference. I got 2 questions to really wrap things up. The first one is, so technology is becoming more and more prevalent in our industry and in our firms, and we have a lot of technology that we all use today. As you sit back and look at it from a strategic planning initiative for your firm, where are you hoping technology helps you go forward in the next 3 or 5 years? Where are you saying, this is what I want out of technology, whether it's Juncture or Tamarack or whoever it may be, that if you could sit with their CEO or their chief technology officer, this is what I want you to build for our firm, what would that be for y'all?
I think that it needs to be on the client portal side, so on the front end client experience, it needs to be a one-stop shop for them to get everything. Right now we have a couple different platforms. So we have eMoney, we have Tamarack, there's Schwab Alliance obviously as well. And there's 3 different places where people can get data. In today's industry, clients want data now, or they probably want it yesterday. Everything is so accessible, and they need data ASAP. So I don't want to have all these different places. This is probably more of a short-term goal than maybe a long-term goal, but I don't want to have all these different places where I have to say, well, if your financial plan, you got to go to log on to eMoney, but if you want to see your investment portfolio, you got to log on to your Tamarack portal. I need them to all be in one spot for everything. So I think that that's probably the short-term, or maybe long-term, I'm not sure. Goal is to try to have everything in one spot so that clients don't have to question which log on or where am I going. It should be a one-stop shop so that they can have everything. And
that's a cohesive work together, or that's a working together of all technology platforms, to open architect, to allow everybody to work together, and that's going to be a collaborative effort by every technology player in the space.
But I think it's important for the client experience, and I think that it can happen. It just it needs to integrate, and everything needs to talk.
And that's kind of been the focus. Everybody's been focusing on the back office, behind the walls, where now we need to start really focusing on how we take what's behind the walls and the efficiencies and the value that we see inside, and make sure that the client sees that as well on their side.
Exactly.
So let's wrap it up with this. Everybody in this conference always is here to predict the future, right? You see everybody up on the big stage. What's the market going to do? Where's the economy going? What's the political landscape going to look like? Greg Bayer was probably talking about, who's going to win the election in the midterms. But I'm going to put you up on the big stage. Where does, in 5 years, what is the different, when we look back, how does a client-advisor relationship look different than it does today within our industry? Or how does our firms look different than they do today or tomorrow in 5 years than they do today?
So I don't know if I have some profound statement here on what exactly it's going to look like. But the one thing I do know and hope is that we always remain in our personal service industry, and that personal relationship and trust is always there. I think that the relationships that we develop, there's nothing that, in my mind, that can replace that. No technology or anything that can kind of be that type of person to a client. So I think that while technology will continue to evolve and technology will continue to take the place of certain job functions, which I think is bound to happen, what we do with that and how we continue to add value to clients with that additional leverage, I think is what will set firms apart. So I think there will be more consolidation of firms because you can bring a lot of efficiencies together, and a lot of things that we can probably add value in different ways that we may not be doing today.
Yeah. I mean, as technology continues to evolve, I think that the focus, like you said with robos, the focus on the human relationships may become more and more magnified, as well as saying, you're now using more technology, how do you elevate the relationship to make sure that stays there? And
Absolutely.
It's still dealing with money, and it's still dealing with emotions.
Yeah, and it's going to be a constant thing that we're going to have to deal with. I feel like with the way that technology evolves now, it's always going to have to be a part of the strategic plan, a part of your goals, a part of long-term planning. So, I mean, if we want to keep up with the industry and keep growing at the rates that we have been able to grow, it's just going to be so important.
See, that was profound. Yeah, there you go.
I don't
Kelly
know about
Hoover,
that.
Hoover Financial Advisors, joining us. Thank you so much. Go follow Kelly on LinkedIn, where she provides great content, just like she just did, about her firm, the industry, everything that can be found. And make sure you subscribe to this channel so you see more of these videos and insights from technologists, advisors, and innovators in this industry. Thank you all.